All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this panel for district committees, hosted by obviously all the district chairs from 2021 or 2020 to the 2021 term. So, just a quick introduction of myself. My name is Aaron Lee. I am a fifth year at Pasadena City College, majoring in aviation. I will be transferring to San Jose in the fall term. I was the FTC 2018 Campfire Skits and Talents chair. I was executive assistant the next year, and then I was the district chair the year after that. So I was very involved with a district committee. Um, just as a timeline for those who are wondering, for the first half of this, because this workshop slash panel is actually 2 sessions long. The first half is going to be about basically the workshop section. So it's going to be about what is a district committee, what district committees are there, what do they entail, what do district chairs look for in a committee member, and workload management considerations. And the second half will be basically a Q&A session where you can ask specific questions to the committee members to see like maybe what their specific answers might be. So if you don't want to go to one and you want to go to one half and the other half, that's fine. If you want to go see some other workshops right now, go right ahead. If you feel like the first half isn't applicable to you, you just choose whichever because you don't have to stay for the whole duration. But yeah, uh, I guess with that being said, if you have any questions throughout any of the workshop, please raise your hand and I will try to call on you. And yeah, so just a little bit of a bragging session. This is the amazing people that I got to meet during FTC when I was on district committees for 3 years, from the advisors to the committee members. You get to meet a ton of people, and they honestly become the most you care about them a lot. They are kind of your family outside of your home club, and I was able to find that family, and I was really grateful that I got to meet these amazing, wonderful individuals, except for Catherine Huang. Moving on, we will be talking about what is a district committee. So, district committees are basically committees that work behind the scenes on literally every aspect of CNA Circle K. Members from all over California. It includes members from all over California, Nevada, Hawaii, and are not specific from one specific school or region. And it honestly is a great opportunity for you to dip your toes in leadership and helps you develop from like shyness. Uh, Honestly, coming into a district committee, it can be very daunting, and I was very nervous. And you will be very shy at first, but as the term progresses, you end up opening up to them and breaking out of your shell. And it is a really great opportunity to just um, meet some new people. But district committees, and going back to that first point about district committees being working behind the scenes, it literally can be uh, depend on any aspect of CNH, from the bylaws to a specific large scale event. District committees have their arms spread far and wide, and we literally hold the district up as well as the home clubs. We are an essential part of the district. And if I talk too fast, also just as warning, please let me know and I'll slow down. So, um, for new members that may not know what a district committee is, as well as or what kind of district committees there are, there's like a ton of district committees, and so there is always a place for everyone, and you will find something that applies to you. So, in order, we have well, no in no specific order. I mean, the first committee we have is administration operation this year, communications and marketing, district convention, fall training conference, Phi Fund or finance and fundraising, KFAM, Kiwanis Family and Foundations, LNR, which is laws and regulations, MR, member recognition, MD&E, which is member development and education, service, and tech. So we have literally whatever route you go, there's always something that you can do, and many amazing opportunities presented outside of your home club. Uh, and there's a typo. I meant to put membership development. My apologies. Yeah, thanks for calling me out. But with that being said, the next few slides are basically introductions. So, because it's being presented by the district chairs of previous term, If you could please just introduce yourself, the representative, just introduce yourself, what position you were in that committee, and just basically give us a rundown of what that committee entails. So you could just follow along the slides. I put basically the instructions, but administration operations. I think we have a representative. I think it's Jamie Lee. Is she here? Okay, I think she's not here right now, so I guess I'll just introduce it. So, administration operations, basically, their roles include the development and implementation and oversight of all professional development activities. Their goal is to advance strategic direction of the district board's special projects through data analysis, resource management, and proper delegation. They recruit and engage alumni membership network and provide guidance to all vice presidents of administration across the district. So they work hand in hand. They work basically with the district governor and yeah, provide support in these fellow categories. Moving forward to communications and marketing, I think our representative is Joey Duong.
Hello, I was the immediate past CNM chair. Um, yeah, my committee basically manages a lot of CNH's platforms. Uh, December's. That is one thing we do. It will be brought back this term. Where we basically just help a lot of the district board communicate what they need to communicate throughout the district through our platforms such as TikTok. We have a TikTok now. Our Instagram. Y'all's probably seen all the amazing content coming out recently. It's a super fun committee and it's very self-explanatory. It's literally in our name. We do work with the technology chair and a lot of the event chairs to help out with their events. We do have a blog. It's been utilized a lot last term. Please do not follow our TikTok for Joey content. There will be no Joey content this term. um, yeah, we just this whole slide works. Yeah, we just mainly work with everyone. To be honest, communication marketing literally is everywhere. Um, it's a really fun committee. Please apply. You really do not have to go in with experience. I knew nothing about graphic standards or, oh, that's bad to say, but I knew nothing about that or like graphics or, yeah, I learned a lot just from being on this committee um, and being chair. Thank you. That is all.
Yes, thank you, Joey. So we will be moving on now to district convention. Wow, wow, wow.
Oh, hello, everyone. My name is Kyle. San Jose, I was the immediate past district convention. Just like a little bit about district convention for like simplistic terms. It's basically just the end of the term like event that happens for CNH. Just being part of the committee, you'll just be responsible for planning for like that event for like the entire term. So that like goes from like aspects from like planning honors reception, doing the workshop, decorations, working alongside the district secretary for House of Delegates, working with MR for awards night and all that stuff. And then also, I think this year also working with MD&E for Professional Expo, and then all the other stuff like entertainment and then talent and all that stuff. Why am I like blinking out? And then yeah, that's just your I don't know what to say. Like it's literally just you planning for the end of the year event with a bunch of people throughout the term. And then these are some bullets. Yeah. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
Thank you, Kyle. And yes, this event is very big and it's a very big celebration because it is a transition between two terms. And so yeah, moving forward, we have fall training conference. Wow. So basically like fall training conference, and it is similar in certain ways with district convention. It is one of the one of the larger district events of the term, and the responsibilities and of being on that committee is in charge of like creating same thing, the entertainment, having a program, the workshops, decorations. And for this one, although it is very similar in certain ways, it is very different in the way that the purpose of this event. So fall training conference compared to district convention, district convention is more of a celebration, more of a um, uh, what's called legislation. It's about House of Delegates voting and boards. This event is more of just a leadership slash fellowship event. This is more about bonding with your home club, getting to know them, breaking the ice, and basically, intro- uh, inducting new members into this organization. This is more of like the beginning, saying like, "Hey, welcome to Circle K International" kind of event. District convention is good job, welcome, thank you for all that you have done kind of event. And so this event is uh very like emotional, sometimes like very like sentimental. And same with like district convention, you get to get amazing awards. We also do a lot of collaborations as well. We work with the service committee, we work with MR, we work with MD&E, and we try to incorporate all different types of district conventions, home clubs into this event. And best way to think of fall training conference is it's like a fall retreat because we get to go into the mountains. But yeah, uh, moving forward, we got Five Fun.
Hello, I'm Brandon. I'm the immediate past district treasurer, which also made me the 500 chair last year. And yeah, it's an amazing committee. You get to first plan crazy competition for infants, which is very exciting because it's often the first event that new members go to because it's the first one in the fall, first district-wide event in the fall. And then you also get to plan on-site fundraisers at like FTC and DCON. And you'll also be responsible for like educating members on our district fundraising initiatives, including planning DFI weeks. And you'll also, a big thing you'll be doing is also helping out all the club treasurers and fundraising chairs by giving them like resources, training, recognition, on all that fun stuff.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, it's a very fun committee. And moving on, KFAM.
Hi everybody, I'm Miyu. I hope y'all don't hear any like vacuums in the background, but I'm the immediate past Kiwanis Family Foundation's chair. And the KFAM committee, we are all about making sure that you're able to communicate with the different Kiwanis family branches, making sure that you're able to get all the resources that you need to be able to assist all the other SLP clubs, whether that's Key Club or Kiwins. One of the best things about being on the KFF committee is really supporting each school's Key to College event. That is an event where you're able to provide workshops for the local high schools, Key Clubs and Kiwins, and just hopefully getting them more acquainted with what Circle K is and getting them hopefully involved once they graduate high school. And we also make sure that we are always transparent with the other Kiwanis family branches and collaborating with projects, whether it's Kiwanis one day where we do a service event with all the different branches together or whatnot. And if you're on the committee, you will be helping host Kiwanis Family Month. And that's a month where you're able to help let the district members know what the Kiwanis family is all about and really help members or encourage members to appreciate this amazing org where there are over 550,000 members in, I think, across like 80 countries. So just knowing that we are a part of that and whatnot. And that is a quick little spiel about KFAM. And yes, I was the former big boss, but that is over to Emily. And yes.
Thank you, Miyu. So moving on, we will be talking about LNR. Oh, yes. So if you
Hello.
see, oh, sorry, go
Go,
ahead.
go. No, 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 go, go, go.
This is what our district governor's response of what LNR is. He has a
Hi, guys.
yeah, and so our representative Catherine Huang.
Okay. Hi, guys. So I'll be covering for Ryan Tan today. I used to be the creative assistant for the district laws and regulations committee back in 2017 to 2018. So 4 scores and 7 years ago, when asked about the laws and regulations committee, our laws and regulations chair last year, Brian Tan, said, "Teehee, we regulate laws and stuff." Shocking, I know. But just to dive a little deeper into laws and regulations, the committee basically acts as the judicial branch of our district, in which they interpret and review laws. Prior to district board meetings, they're the ones who are actively involved in researching and preparing significant district proposals as directed by the current district board. Additionally, they aid in the development and publication of any revisions on the international level, such as any amendments from CKINX. And during the spring, they assist with any club elections, and they're the ones spearheading our district elections. Most importantly, they are the support systems for our district secretary. And that is the quick rundown of the laws and regulations.
All right, thank you so much, Kat. So with that being said, we will move on to MR.
All right, hey guys, my name is Luprella and I'm currently the Immediate Past Member Recognition Chair. So Member Recognition Committee basically is in charge of focusing on all forms of recognition throughout the district and making sure to extend appreciation to those who have been working hard throughout the entire year. We are basically our biggest task throughout the year is to basically maintain different things like the MRP program, as well as the MRS, MR Mondays, as well as Decon Fall Training Conference Awards. In addition to that, we are in charge of updating these every single year and making sure that they are up to date. And not only that, but our committee also likes to provide different member recognition resources to clubs throughout the district in order to help them out and help them find their own way of recognizing other members within their own community, as well as making sure to provide additional resources for things like Decon Fall Training Conference Awards. And yeah, that's basically just a member recognition committee.
Thank you so much. All right, moving on, we got MD&E.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amy. I'm the Immediate Past Membership Development and Education Chair. And this committee is focused around, well, as it says, membership development and education, but also helping clubs with recruitment and retention, especially in the fall, but throughout the year. And then also aiding in resources for educating members, whether this means manuals or webinars, and just about all the different opportunities that Circle K has, and also helping officers with officer training. There aren't really specific defined things that you have to do, but it's really fun, kind of chill and laid back. Yeah, that's about all.
All right, thank you, Amy. All right, moving on, we have the service committee.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kim Hinojos, and I'm the Immediate Past District Service Chair. So essentially what the district committee, or the district service committee does is handle everything and all things service in the district. So for example, we organize large-scale service projects such as the ones that are commonly seen at FTC, STC, and Decon. We also organize DLSSP every year. So around November and July, when there are super long district board meetings, we're the cause of that with our 12 proposals. Next, we also propose district service initiatives. For example, the DSI this year consists of 3. Last year there was 1. So we took charge of that. Also, we are primarily the support system for service officers across CNH. If any members have any questions about anything service related or service tags, we're their prime go-to. And lastly, what we do is ensure that service is meaningful and impactful across the division or the district. And we provide resources and educational materials to ensure that our service is meaningful and impactful. So if you have any questions, let the service committee know.
Thank you, Kim. And last but not least, technology.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Matthew Kim, and I am the immediate past technology chair. So the technology committee are responsible of managing all of the technology platforms that the district has. Some of them include the CNH website, and some of them another would be the CNH mobile app Solstice that we have been working on for the past term. We also help any technology chair across the district if they need any assistance with their home club, whether it's a project that they're working on or the website for their home club. We give their assistance to them. And if there's any district committee that wants help in terms of technical logistics and aspects, we help them as well. Some of the committees that we help with the most is Fall Training Conference and District Convention with their websites and the CNH mobile app Solstice. So not only that, but we also make sure that any information that needs to be publicly released out to the district and all of our technology platforms, we help release those as well.
All right, thank you, Matt. So yeah, that is basically just a quick rundown of what every single one of the district committees entails and some of the things that they are responsible for. So the next question is like, what do district chairs look for in a committee member? So if any district chairs would like to chime in, please obviously let me know, raise your hand. But here are some of the things that I feel that all of us generally look for in a district committee members. Not skill. So stop. I think that's the biggest misconception of district committees is I hear it time and time again. People think, oh, I don't think I'm qualified for that position. Well, our qualifications don't say you need to have a certain skill set. Never does it say you need to be in Circle K for 4 years. It never says you need to be good at something. We never ever. I don't think I've ever seen anyone say you need these certain skills to be on this committee. So that's something that I think should be out of your mind completely. Now, here are some things that we do look for in a district committee member: dedication / ambition / motivation. We really appreciated when we got to see someone who was motivated, who was really passionate about wanting to be on this committee. We really wanted to see someone who was asking a lot of questions about that committee, because it shows that they're interested in it, shows their um you know appreciation for that committee. And so that is something that we really do look for when we look at your applications, when we go through your interview. We like to see the ambition, the fire. We like to see the fire, um eagerness to learn. I think as I said before, people say, oh, I don't think I'm good enough, or I don't think I can do it. Well, you know it's not about saying that you're not good enough. We don't want you to have that. We don't want you to put yourself down like that. We want you to have an optimistic outlook. We want you to say, I want to learn. I want to learn how to do that. I want to learn how to maybe if it's a social skill, I want to know how to speak more confidently in a crowd. I want to learn how to be more organized. If we can see that you want to learn, the position might help you in that aspect, because a committee chair would never be mad at you for saying, I am not skilled in this, but I want to learn how to do it. They'll be there to guide you, help you through that whole situation, and support you throughout your journey through, you know, the district committee. Humility. I think one thing that Circle K sometimes we forget to do is stay humble. We need to stay humble, appreciate, what we have been through. And honestly, like I said, this kind of ties back to the first one. Whether you've gone through presidency, whether you've gone through other district committees, I think saying that, you know, so there's certain aspects of those positions that may help you through your district committee you're trying to go for, but most of the time it doesn't apply. I'm an aviation major. Nothing in a fall training conference helps me fly a plane. you know so saying things like, oh well, I'm an aviation major and I'd be great for this position, that means nothing. So I think staying true to yourself, and or staying true to yourself and making sure that you take this as an opportunity for I think taking this opportunity not for the title but rather the experience, that kind of mindset really does make the experience much better for yourself, because you know telling this is we're all in a service committee. We ain't getting paid for this. So there's no point of trying to put anyone down, or saying uh, setting up some kind of hierarchy system. We're all in this together, we're all doing this together, we're all doing this for the same end goal. And last but not least, communication and transparency. This is something we all struggle with from a day-to-day basis. Sometimes we are great communicators, some days we're not. And this is something that we almost every district committee, and I can't think of a single district committee who would say otherwise. Communication is key, and being able to communicate your work, communicating a timeline, communicating, what you're struggling in, that shows. This ties back to like eagerness to learn. That shows growth. If you're behind on your work, hey, you know, I'm behind on this assignment that you assigned to me. The chair will usually say, you know what, hey, no problem. Is there anything I can do to help you with that situation? Let me extend the deadline for you. Let me give you some more time. This that communication really is important for a district chair because they are informed and that provides transparency for them, so then they can figure out how they can adjust their game plan for so everyone ends up succeeding. um and I think one of the things people are too scared about is like, oh, I forgot to do this one assignment, they're going to be yelling at me. Honestly, if you honestly just let them know, hey, I forgot about this one assignment, and they say out, and you provide them with a game plan with a goal in mind, saying, hey, I forgot to do this one assignment, I will do it in the next 3 days. um I have some other assignments I need to do within school that are more important, and then I will get back to starting on this assignment. If you say that, and I was the chair, I would have been like, okay, you know what, go ahead, don't worry, take as much time, figure, do your schoolwork first, do your work, and then we'll get back. That communication is very important, and for anyone. And does any district chairs want to add on to anything? Okay. Okay, well then we'll just move forward. All right, workload management. This is unbelievably important, and you'd be surprised how many people struggle with this, including myself. So, workload management is very important for the district committees. District committees can be a lot of work. Like some of the district committees, as Amy said, like sometimes it can be very laid back. It's very chill. But some of them are like work, 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 work in a certain in a very fast pace. So here are some things you might want to ask yourself. Are you working? Are you taking a lot of units in school? Do you have a lot of other responsibilities? Are you taking any internships? Do you have other positions in Circle K already? Be honest with yourself and do not overload yourself. If you're taking, if you're taking 15 or 20, 16, 17 units, plus you're out taking a summer internship, plus you're doing presidency, maybe this is not the right year to be adding on top, I don't know, decon, fall training conference, something that requires a lot of, that has another workload. You need to be careful because you will exhaust yourself. And sometimes when you spread yourself out too thin, you don't get to put in as much motivation or dedication because you're so spread out. Keep in mind, guys, a lot of us here have how many years? 4 or 5 years of college. You don't have to do everything in 1 year. You can do something the next year. You can do something later. Don't. And so I think make sure to be honest with yourself, and because the last thing you want to do is burn out. Now, can I answer for what the workload is for each of the district committees? Heck no. I don't know how much MD&E does. I don't know what MR does. I can only tell you what I know, which is FTC, right? But if you want to know about it, go ask the current district chairs. They are available. They are more than welcome to answer your questions about any position, how much the workload is. Ask those committee members who took those positions. Go ask the previous campfire chair. How was that, work to be a campfire skits chair? They've been there, done that, and they'd be more than happy to answer your questions. But be honest with yourself. I can't stress this enough. Like, if you think you can take it, then go ahead. You know, if you're a person who can't handle a high stress, high workload, or high, um, yeah, high workload environment, then go ahead. You know, I've had many people that have succeeded in that, that are very dedicated and are able to do that. But sometimes, you know, like for myself, if I take on too much work, I shut down and I like, you know, all responsibilities go out the window sometimes because I get very stressed. And so it's always be good to be honest with yourself, slow down, take each thing one at a time and figure out, is this the right time to do it, you know? For I'm gonna, you know, use again FTC as an example. FTC is we you only have about 6-7 months to work on FTC because FTC is halfway through, like through the term. So a lot of you, and then it's also a lot of work between the summer and fall term. So you have to think about, okay, am I doing any summer school? Am I going to do like 2 summer internships? Do I have a high unit uh term for like fall semester slash quarter? Am I taking a lot of things? Think of those ahead of time and then decide, you know what, then maybe I can do it. And that's kind of how you can start planning out your life and planning out Circle K journey. All right, moving on. Here are some considerations, and this is something I feel a lot of Circle Kers also struggle with. Rejection does not mean that you are not good enough. This is something I keep hearing a lot, and it is still I'm gonna hear it moving forward constantly. People think that you got rejected because someone better, you know, comparably better was chosen. Honestly speaking, that is like 99.9999, actually 100%. I can't even say 99. It's like 100% of the time. It's never that. It's never that because you know, district committees, for example, like they have a limited number of spaces. FTC, for example, we had 17 spots total, you know, and we get sometimes tens to hundreds of applicants, and you need to be careful because, or like, it's very hard for the district chair to be like, I want to take. Sometimes, you know, it's two people who have the same exact qualifications, same exact responsibility. We can't say, you know, one's better than the other. You know, it literally is just sometimes for me at least, it's sometimes like, okay, this is like, what do I do, you know? So I think one of the biggest things you need to remind yourself is that don't tell us, don't be putting yourself down by saying that you aren't good enough. There are many times I got rejected in Circle K, and yeah, sometimes it is kind of disheartening, but it's about that growth. It's about growth. And so telling yourself, you know, I'm just going to get back up and let's try this again, you know, like apply again the next term, you know? Like there are times where sometimes you don't get the position you want and then you get rejected. Okay, next term you apply and then you get the position you wanted. That literally can happen and has happened in the past. So please don't burden yourself, don't stress yourself out if you ever get a rejection letter. Again, this is Circle K International. Like this is you're not getting paid. It's fine. So don't feel like sad, I think. You know, take this as a learning opportunity for the real life because then, you know, you will get rejection letters either from colleges, work, whatever. Take it as a learning experience, you know? Like you hear it at those workshops about jobs, you know, when you get a rejection letter, sometimes you can contact that, you know, the manager and ask them like, hey, you know, what are some of the reasons why I was rejected? And they can give you those reasonings, but at least that you got that growth from Circle K, learning from rejections, you know? So I think I can't stress it enough. It's okay to get rejected. It's okay. I hate the word rejection, honestly. I think it should be just a decline, like what's the word? Like declining, you know? Declining your offer. So like, you know, you offered to help with the district committee and sometimes we have to decline it, you know? We appreciate your help. We appreciate your like want desire to help, you know, but we don't need it currently. Like it's kind of I like that way better. I don't like the word rejection either. But yeah. So yeah, does anyone any district committee member have any? No? Okay. I think we're good. Yeah, so with that being said, I think it's 2:55, so we're a little early. This is just a Q&A session. If you have any questions regarding a specific district committee, like what do you want to know, you could ask about how hard it was or how much workload, what are some, you know, things you want to know regarding certain positions. This is the time to ask. So if could just raise your hand. Otherwise, I'll just ask just popcorn questions, just for the time's sake. Anyone? Okay. Well, then I will be asking just a general question. A lot of I'm pretty sure everyone in like district chairs here have held a position in district committees. Um, beforehand, obviously, I'm pretty sure no one just came in and became a district chair automatically. So, would anyone like to answer like how did you guys feel when it was like your first time? Like, how was the application process, and how was it when you first got on the committee for your respective committees? How daunting was it? Joey?
It was very daunting. So something most don't know about me is like I actually applied for multiple district committees last term, and I was not rejected, declined from like two, like most of them that I applied for, except for CNM. I didn't really apply for PR. I was kind of appointed. But yeah, the application was very, very nerve wracking. But what I did to help me out was like reach out to people as well as like the current chairs. Something I want to like throw out there that I forgot to like say it earlier, but Aaron was asking we have anything. The 2021-28 last term was very different from most terms. So when we speak about it, it's like every term is different. So someone you should originally be looking to talk to is like the current chairs and seeing what they want. Because yeah, last term was super different. So our workload was like a lot heavier than most terms, and as well as like our health wise, it was a lot heavier. Yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. Application process, not fun, but I was declined. But I didn't give up, like Aaron has described. I kept going, and then I ended up being appointed as CNM chair in the middle of the term, which was fun. Great. Love meeting people. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Joey. Yes, this is yes. Just as an emphasis, yes, you should always talk to current district chairs because the reason why this panel that I decided it was that I think it was the reason I decided that the past district chairs would host it is because although the current district chair knows what they want, the past district chairs know like what we've been through, and I felt they can give a little more insight onto how it felt, how it the experiences. And yeah, but if you're in terms of like what the current chair or what the committee needs right now, I can't answer that. That's what you need to hit my successor up for. But does anyone else want to answer that question about how their first time was? Personally, for myself, my first time, I was in that position where I told myself that I wasn't qualified because I was only in Circle K for about 6 months, or actually, yeah, about 7, 8 months into the term. Um, I was only in it for half term because I joined in the fall, and so then I applied for Campfire Skits and Talent Next Year. On top of that, I actually ran for treasurer, and so I was like, "Oh wow, this is like um, a dumb mistake." So I told myself I don't think I could do this, but you know, basically like I was basically a new member still. I haven't had my first year in Circle K and I was already applying to a district committee. And I was telling myself this isn't a great time to do it. I don't think I'm ready. And then I got the call that saying, "Oh, hey, do you want this position?" I said, "Hell yeah!" And so I think it was very scary and I felt very honored that like they chose me, and I was very grateful. Um, because like yeah, it was just I was just shocked that I got on. And then that first time when I first met the committee, oh my god, that was so scary and so like, you know, terrifying. And I think all of us would go through that first meeting like I don't know anyone on here. I don't know who the heck you are like, but they ended up being people I love hate. Like yes. Anyone else want to answer that?
I could talk a little bit about my experience. So it's funny because I had my first committee experience as EA for MR in the first half, and then my first experience as chair the second half. But initially, you know, when I first became EA for MR committee this year, you know, I was really scared because, you know, Moore Park really is a lot smaller in comparison to a lot of different clubs that from, you know, from members who are on the committee, like from Long Beach, from Sacramento State. Like these are clubs that I always like kind of looked at. Like shout out to you guys. You guys are really organized for your e-boards. Um, and for me, I was just like, oh my gosh, am I not experienced enough? Because like, I'm like, you know, from like a smaller club, you know, do I not know a lot about CKI compared to everyone else in the committee? And, you know, the answer was pretty much, I mean, it's fine. You know, I mean, the thing is like kind of like what Aaron said, you know, it's all about learning and all about wanting to motivate yourself and being able to, you know, be able to like kind of take your, you know, take your shot and take your, you know, experience your community as and bond with them as much as you can. And in that, I've made a lot of different connections and like, well, not connections, more like friendships and stuff. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like that initial worry wasn't really anything I had to worry about at all. So.
Thank you so much, Luke. Yeah. But does anyone else have any questions? Like, let me ask, like, you know, the audience, like, do you guys have any like committees that you're interested in? Like, um, doesn't mean you're applying, just like you're interested in. Like, we can say it in chat. We can say it out loud. Are there any like ones that you're concerned about that you like are confused about? In the future, maybe administration, operations, or law and regulations. Yeah, those are really fun. Those are really like logistics, and they work really like almost like they work in like the inner workings of CNH basically. Service and MD&E also very fun. They're very impactful. Their goals are different, but they still are very important for Circle K. FTC and service, yay! Also very different. Yes, LNR is great for if you're going to law or policy making. Yep. CNM, MR, and DAR. I think you meant MR. Yes. Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. It's okay. I've gotten like confused before. I got confused between MD&E and MR, and I said MR and D, and I got really confused. I thought at first I thought it was the same position because people were like confusing me. So yes, I've been there, done that. Don't worry. Stop it, Jason. So anyone else? Yes. Stop it. Yes. So yes, CNM has a lot of about media, graphic design. Joey?
It's fun. Do CNM.
Yes. FTC or Decon? Yes. If you're into event planning, FTC and Decon are the way to go for sure because we are our main goal literally is just to do that one event. And you know, and providing the experience to the members for that event. But it is a um good opportunity to just host. You know, if you want to be a host, if you want to be good at public speaking, um yeah, FTC and Decon. Yes. Honestly, if you're into like computer programming or if you're into like website design, obviously the way to go is like tech. I feel like if you guys just have a specific major, a lot of our district committees can really go into those like district committees. They're very applicable to your district committees. Um, oh, PR committee. I forgot to tell you guys. We also have a president's retreat committee, and that is more of a ad hoc position, so it's as needed. Um, it's on an appointment based like it's appointment based, so like you can't apply to it, but that is another committee that we have, and they're in charge of hosting President's Retreat. It's another event planning committee, like FTC and Decon, and they work even quicker than FTC or Decon, because PR is like almost immediate, and then FTC is about 6 months in, and then Decon's is at the end of the term. Yes, Ren said if you like enjoy working on web design, creative, or into programming, yes, tech is the way to go. Kat said a lot of soft and hard skills you learn within Circle K, which can be translated into your professional careers. I agree. Don't limit yourself. But yeah, even if you like, for example, like web design, if you are into like that kind of like field, you can go into tech, you can go into decon, you can go into FTC, you can go into, there's a lot of like specific positions within each of the district committees that actually still work with each other. We have like, for example, like FTC and decon, we also have a graphic chair, and so we need a graphic design if that's like your strong suit or if that's something you want to try. Um, one thing I think almost like half the district committees you will become amazingly great in is Excel. I think Excel is like half the district committee's best friends. Yeah. I'm not even a STEM major. But yeah, I guess another question I have is, I guess we could just answer this pretty easily if you want to answer about the workload of your district committees. Um, but to answer before we start on that, Jonathan, you asked, can we do like separate office hours if we cannot make it? Yeah, I mean, like if you can't make it to the district chair's office hours, you are more than welcome to reach out to them directly, and they can answer their questions directly. So, um, like for example, I couldn't make the office hours for FTC when I first tried to join, so I just messaged the chair directly and said, "Hey, can I ask you some questions?" And I asked them the questions, and they gave me the answers. So there are ways to just personally outreach to get your answers if you ever need them. You could also email them. They're obviously very proactive in emails as well. So yeah, does anyone of the district committees like to answer regarding the workload? How do you feel the workload was for that specific district committee? Are there any like things you want to worry about? Are things that you want to reassure? I guess I'll start for FTC at least. FTC's workload is on more of in terms of district committees, it is on the higher end of the workloads because we get half the time we do for other district committees. So our workload is a little bit higher. However, it's not like to the point where you shouldn't be doing anything else in your life. It is something that is manageable. A lot of us have um, done um, other positions within Circle K um, while on FTC. Like we had presidents, we've had treasurers, we have people on A board, we've had people who have taken internships, we have people who are like other things in their life. But obviously we do want to be um like we do want to be cautious, like to warn you guys, this is still a very dedicated committee. And for example, FTC, our workload was like we would meet every week, once a week at least, and just basically go over every part of FTC. And although it sounds like a lot, honestly, it didn't feel like a lot because it was so much fun. And I think every district committee can agree to that. Like usually the meetings, we don't have the meetings just to have the meetings to like be boring. They're really fun. We end up doing really fun stuff, laughing our way through it. And yeah, I think just it's about again, I can't stress this enough, but it's about the experience, and FTC really gave me that experience that I was looking for. That yeah. Um, Kyle said meetings can be so chaotic and it brightens your day. Yeah, FTC and Decon, we are the epitome of chaos sometimes, and it can get pretty like crazy. Andy said, I absolutely value building relationships, and I am wondering what it is like in the district level when you're committee members from all over CNH compared to building relationships within your own division and club level. CNM nickname for ourselves was Chaos and Mayhem. I agree to that statement as well. Yes, it's Aaron says how much he loved FTC, or how he loved how he was able to bond on the FTC community. Oh, I love Aaron Say. So Andy's to respond to Andy's thing about the relationships in on the district level versus club and divisional level, it's different. I think as we joke about it, like it hits differently. I think because you get to see your club or division maybe like pretty often, but like your district committee members, you get to meet them. Like for example, FTC, it takes about a couple months before you actually get to meet them in person, and you like meet people from Reno all the way to San Diego. You meet people to LA to San Bernardino County, and then you all get in one place. It's different. It's a very different experience, and it's hard to explain, but it's yeah, the connections are very different than compared to club and divisional level. I love Aaron. Does anyone else want to talk about their workload for their district committees? How do they feel it was? Do they feel it was very laid back? Do you guys feel it was very whoa? Joey?
I'm laughing about your whoa. Like I stated earlier, last term was really different. For CNM, I feel like we had a huge workload, but it's mainly like it wasn't even like CNM related workload. It's more so like just like the given environment that we had last year. Like I said, it varies. But I would say like without that, it was okay. It wasn't that much, and like the chairs are very respective of schedules. I would say it was like it's like a class. I think that's the best I could describe it. Like class time, not that much commitment. Wait, no, class needs a lot of time commitment. Keep quiet.
Aaron says that it is really exciting, or it was really exciting to work with so many people from all over, and the anticipation of getting to finally meet them and is so rewarding. Also, getting to share committee workload was relieving, especially the emotional and stress relief of how close you can be with your committee. I agree. Yes. So Aaron Say and I, we were both on FTC together, but just the fact that you get to meet people that you can. It's not about the workload in just your committee, but you get to share your emotional load, and you get to share your physical stress. Like a lot of depending on the committee, sometimes you get very close to people and you can lean on each other for support. And there are many times that I have cried to my committee and just like you know to you know lessen the load on myself, and they're always there for you. And it's again, like I said, it's a family outside of yeah, this is the family outside of your home club slash division, and it really is a wonderful experience. um yes, but other than that, like I think, is there any other committees that want to like talk about the workload? Like I guess comparatively, like the workloads are very different. Again, as Joey mentioned, because of COVID. However, outside of like COVID, I think a lot of us can also speak for before COVID, because um like uh like me, Kyle and I, we both have worked, at decon before, or FTC slash decon before the pandemic and then during the pandemic, and it is very different. But uh yeah, in terms of workload, I'd say for FTC, the workload was still pretty same level of, it's still a good amount of workload. um but comparatively, like I said, FTC's workload is on a higher side, while but also like got to keep in mind that you're working a lot harder, quicker, and then decon you have a little more time spread out, so you guys can work more even paced. And um yeah. Joey said, also as restrictions die down and the world becomes a little safer, the new term may be able to meet more in person and really does make a difference, like Aaron stated. CNN, one of my dearest friends, yes. And because the pandemic is starting to we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I think we're gonna transition back into in person slowly, safely, and so you can expect things to be a little bit to what it is in the past. And so again, that's something you should ask your district chairs. Andy's iPhone said, for decon and FTC, is there more work now having to plan for online in advance in case of in person is canceled due to COVID? I think it's something that the district chairs are going to have to determine themselves, and it's something that they are going to have to decide is going to be most likely they are going to have to like plan, but again, it's something that is a collaboration with the entire committee. They will probably discuss during their meetings like what is our backup plan. Yes, they now have to create a backup plan, but they have the support of not only the chair, but they also have the support of the advisors that work literally as a district committee member through the entire experience. I think this personally for this term, when I was the FTC chair, it was a little bit different because both Kyle and I for FTC and Decon, we didn't like. Well, I mean, for me at least, it was very like I didn't have time to have a backup plan, so I just kind of had to switch when the announcement was made, and so then um I think when the announcement was made, both me and Kyle, we started having to plan for the online event, and it was a little bit stressful because it was in the middle of our term, and so a lot of our plans needed to stop and then restart. And so I think that is very. It was a little stressy, but now that we have gone through that experience, I think for the next chair and the next district committee, it's going to be easier for them because they now have the resources and the experience that's already been through. So, anyone have any questions regarding any specific committees? Literally any specific committee? Would anyone like to talk about some of the cool positions they had as well as on their committee like um that was like of interest? Or would anyone like to talk about working with their advisors? How was it working with advisors? I can answer for that. My advisor's in here. So, Joey said Patty saved my life. Yes, advisors are awesome. Like, yeah, like working with advisors, the support is amazing. Like, I think another thing when you work on a district committee is you're gonna learn how to speak to Kiwanians because I feel like it's very different. Because like I mean, every district committee member chairs knows like talking to your advisor. Sometimes you have to be a little more like it trains you to be more like well, I guess formal because a lot of things in Circle K is so casual, and sometimes communicating with them you have to do them. There's sometimes a formality that you have to learn, and yes, communication etiquette is super important, and you you know need to find ways and resources of how to communicate with them. Sometimes like advisors don't even respond to like text messages. They don't text sometimes. They don't like use Facebook, and sometimes your little direct form of communication is email, and so then you have to learn email etiquette, how to form an email. You're gonna have to learn the difference between carbon copy and blind carbon copy because no one in Circle K seems to know what those are. Like, yeah. Hey, does anyone know? Okay, be honest. Does anyone here not like? Does anyone know how to use the CC and BCC, or did they learn it in Circle K? Because I learned it in Circle K. When I got in Circle K, I learned I had no clue what a CC and BCC was. Kyle, Kyle learned it a week before his event. What? Yeah, see, you learned it before. You learned it before. Learned it CC in Circle K. Oh, learned it in Key Club. Yep. Yes, you will learn what those are. If you don't know what it is, you could ask any of us and we'll teach you. But it is very important, um, because CC and BCC are used to keep other people in the loop while when you're even though they're not directly being communicated towards. So it was important because you have to always CC your advisor, always. And if you don't, they'll come after you because they don't know what's going on. So yes. And I guess another question I could ask the audience is this going to be your first time applying to a district committee? Yes. Wow, I'm excited for you. No? Good, good. Yes, we love it when you come back to apply more. Yes, yes. Yay. Yes. I can't stress how oh, again, another thing I need to stress is I think you're gonna find out that the application process for district committees are very different compared to like applications for like um well, I guess it's not that different, but I think it personally for me it was the reason being the application process was different is because um the whole application is only just honestly speaking, I think it's not even like I'd say a third of the whole process because the interview is so important, unbelievably important. And then the like I think people like it's not really 50-50. Your application is important, but your interview is also very important. And so I think maybe I could transition to that. Um, so talking about the application and interviews, I think here are some things that some tips that I would give to not stress and burden yourself on. There's a part usually that talks about your experience or your position experience. Don't stress too much if that section's empty. That is not that important, you know? That is kind of like just there for logistics and understanding who you are more than just asking because then they could reject you because that first question. There's like 100% of the time, no district chair would decline just because of that first section, of that position section. Here's another section that, um, you know, is kind of important, but make sure you guys find and ask your references early. I think references don't like it when if you're asking someone for a reference, don't ask them the day of the applications because sometimes it gets a little scary and stressful for them because then they have to the references usually get an email slash like call or somehow asking about you basically, and sometimes they need time to prepare to what they're going to say about you, and so when they find out last minute that they're a reference, it can be a little stressful for them. So make sure you ask your references very quickly, um, and it's very good to find them early. The other thing is regarding the interview. The interviews, the main point of the interview, in my opinion, is not about you answering the question correctly. It's more about they're trying to figure out who you are and check your like see like your vibe and see like who you are, your personality, see what kind of, and this is again, I think it's scary. The interview can be scary because you do end up having to talk to someone. That's like the first thing that you interact with that chair with, and you don't even know who that chairperson is, and they don't know who you are. So the interview is important because honestly, I don't know if other district chairs can agree, but I get more insight from the interview than I did from the application. Like it's much more informative to me finding who that person is rather than trying to like read your application. And sometimes like for example, the application, you put something on your application and we don't know what you're trying to say. And so we often ask those questions in the app, like interview, like, "Hey, I noticed you wanted to do this with your goals. Like, what do you mean by that?" And this is where you elaborate and help them understand what your passions are, what your um, goals are, and so on. So I think it's very important to prepare for your interview. So here are some things that like I would recommend, and I don't have like a slide for this, but I should prepare your answers in advance. Like prepare for like like they're most likely going to ask you about your goals. There's like a good chance they're going to ask you about what you mean by your goals or elaborate on your goals. So make sure you have a game plan to talk about what your goals are. Um, if they ask questions about yourself personality wise, maybe prepare your questions for what you mean when they say, you know, this may be for normal interviews. So tell me about yourself. That question, I hate that question. But like it's something you do have to prepare yourself. So talk about like maybe like get ready for the answers. Like, okay, so my name is Aaron Lee. I am from Pasadena City College. I am a fifth year. The reason why, and although like you want to say the facts, but don't like ramble on in terms of um too much information. you know, I think just be very concise, and because it's a very short interview and they just want to get to know you very quickly. And so be careful with some of like the like the quicker ones, just like don't elaborate too much. But like here's some cases where it is good to elaborate. So I saw on this goal that you want to focus on member retention. What is some things you want to focus on? Well, understanding like member retention has been a big issue, and I think that I feel one of the biggest and most impactful ways to really retain our members is creating friendships, connections, and also like personal outreach. And so I believe like in terms of the connections and relationships, we really need to focus on creating more impactful social events, blah blah blah. Going on like this is like when we see that, when you really go on and talk about your goals, that's when we say, oh my God, this person is really passionate about this position. And that is a big plus. Um, but yeah, Joey says, what do you want to, or why do you want to apply for the committee? That one's a that one trips up a lot of people. I don't know why it trips up a lot of people, but we sometimes like a lot of these answers like because I want to like, like that one's a hard one to answer. Like I think trying to figure out it's more of a like self-reflective question. Like why do you really want to apply to this committee? It's not like trying to say like, oh, you know, this is a it's not about we don't I think a lot of people answer by bragging about the committee, saying like, oh, FTC is like this like cool event, blah, like stuff like that. But don't focus on FTC. We want to know you, this interviews you. So why do you want to apply it, I found my FTC experience, I really do want to develop myself as an individual, stuff like that, like answering questions about yourself. Um, Another question could be, how do you plan on growing your position? Yes, that also relates to your goals. And it's kind of like saying like, this position's at a very high standards. How are you going to raise the bar, And think about, and I think here's one way to focus on that is think of innovation. When you guys apply to a position, my biggest advice is create your goals early. Your goals like of what you want to do with that position, whether it's decon's like professional development position, to FTC's like decorations chair, to media's like web designer. Like you should think of your goals first, and then like that's how I did my application. Was I did my goals first, then I did my application, and then I did the interview. Because when you do your goals first, you write down the general goals. Like for example, like I want to enhance committee morale. Okay, that's really broad. I want to do really good campfire performance. Okay, that's also really broad, right? You make these really broad goals, and then you go in and go, how do you want to get it better? I want to introduce a co-host and try to do some kind of back and forth, and like ad libs. I want to really focus on um, making sure the campfire skits are fully supported with their positions and making sure that leniency is an option. Like that's when you start getting into the nitty gritty. But you couldn't have gone to there if you haven't started on your broad goals. You know. Um, let's see. Kyle says tip I use when I applied for district committees was hit up the individual whoever held the position previously. Most of the time, you'll hear them talk about things they wish they could have improved on. Yes, and that let's see, that adds to your inventory of things you can say in your interview. Also, don't be shy to ask them. Past committee members getting super excited when they find out someone is interested in their position. I couldn't agree more. There are so many things that I wish I could have done with my position that I tell my successor and they ended up doing that. It's really good idea. Uh, Harshita, sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Would you recommend picking one position on committee and developing your ideas and goals for that one committee or for that one position? Um, it depends. It depends on what you're passionate about. If it's that one position that you're passionate about, then yeah, just apply to that one. But if there are more than one, then you should try to apply for more than one. Like, um, I think for FTC when I first joined, and I think anyone else, district chairs, you guys can also chime in, but I only applied to 2 positions. There's like 3 slots, and I only applied to 2 because I wasn't passionate about any other one. And my first choice was Campfire Skits and Talent Extra. My second choice was SA, and I got my first choice because I guess personally I was more passionate about that one because I elaborated much more on my application for that one. But um, if you really are just passionate about one position, go all out. We want to see that motivation. I think it's more important. Like, again, this goes back to that spreading yourself too thin. If you spread your goals out, like if you apply for like 3 positions and you're only like really motivated for one, your application will show it that you showed like a lot of effort and a lot of passion for that one position. The other 2, you're like, I'm a little iffy. But like, go for the ones that, again, this is more of a self-reflection. Go for the one you're really passionate about, and then go for it. Does anyone else, like any district committee members, have anything they want to say regarding that? Oh, and just as a reminder, I think the first session ended at 3:05, 30 minutes ago. If you guys wanted to go to the other one, my bad. Oopsie. Also, I forgot. I think let me find it real quick. Amy, do you have the sign in?
Yeah, one sec.
Yeah. Completely forgot about the sign in. Sorry. Thank you. Yes, please sign in for that first session. And then if you're still in the second session, I guess, yeah. We'll just put you for the whole thing. It's fine. I think you just sign in once. Does any district chairs want to share some like fun things about their position, like their committee? Yeah. Kyle.
Yeah. So fun things like about like I feel like this is like overall like general, but like for me, what was really fun about like my committee, like so I came from like UCI, so we have like this like we're breaking out of it. We used to have like this UCI bubble where it's like we only really talk to like people in our club, but when I joined the committee God, I can't count, last 2 years ago or last year, and now being chair, like it really opens up your like perspective of how big Circle K is. Like when you think about it, like it's not just your club, and then let alone it's not just your division, like it's like literally a whole district, and then there's international, but we won't get into that. But like focusing on a district, like it's like really big. Like you meet like people like all over the district, and like for me, I get really super geeky and excited to hear like about how like their club is and stuff like that, and hearing their perspective and all that stuff about their thing. And then just like their like the overall committee experience there, everyone is like very, very different. Like you'll be surprised how you get along with certain people that you never thought you would. So just like from my experience when I was on just committee, not the chair, when we had like in-persons and stuff like that, like honestly, that had to be like one of my like favorite experience being on the committee. It was definitely like things that I will like forever remember ever being on it, even on an online platform. Even like this term is like still partly online, it still didn't change the impact it made on me as like a chair and as a person on the committee. Like regardless of platform, like I was still able to get to know them on a personal level, and like I consider them as like family. Like I still talk to the people on my committee 2 years ago, and I still talk to my committee now. So it really just like overall, main point, like whatever you put into, if you get into the case, whatever you put into the committee is like really what you get out of it from your experience on joining and stuff like that.
Thank you, Kyle. I couldn't agree more. You make the experience you want. That is something I live by. Like, if you want that experience, you got to make it. um, but with that, let's see. I think here's like for those in the audience, if you guys want to like give us like maybe some of your guys' concerns, we want to know like district committees are yes, there's a lot of pluses in district committees, but there is a lot of like deltas, and we want to know what are some of the scary things. What are you worried about? Is there something you're scared about during the district committees? Um, Maybe is there anything we could reassure you? Is there something we could provide clarification? Is there something that you're confused about on the application? I think the application is exactly the same for. I mean, they kind of change up every year, but yeah, you can say it in chat. You can say it on. We could just raise your hand. Ow, my foot fell asleep. How do you pick positions? That's a good. Honestly, that's a good question. Does anyone want to talk about any district committee member want to talk about how they pick their positions, like in terms of like when they were on a joining the district committee? I chose it based on like my personality. Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. Like I knew for me personally, I didn't want to work on like documents, like as like I I didn't want like for example like a position that worked a lot with Excel because I suck at Excel and I get exhausted from it. But I knew I can talk. I knew I can talk for hours. And so when I applied for FTC, Campfire stood out almost immediately because that's talking in front of a whole crowd, and doing basically a show. You get to act like a clown on stage, and that was literally my personality. Acting like a complete nut job on the stage. So yeah, it depends. And Kyle says, I agree. I based it off their work ethic and them as a person because I wanted to treat them not only as my committee members, but also a person I can get to know. Yeah, I agree. Does that answer your question, Harshita? Or did we answer the wrong questions? Okay, no problem. Anyone else? Does anyone else have any questions? Joey said I chose my position because the last person inspired me. Good answer. I agree. Sometimes the predecessor usually like they did such a like you'll be like, oh my god, they did such a good job, and I want to be like that. Yep. My predecessor inspired me too. She was Campfire Skits chair, and then she was chair. Yes. Does anyone else have any other questions? Oh, I forgot what I was going to talk about. There was something else I was going to talk about that was like really important. I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, good one. Thank you, Emily. That's a good one. What do you guys? Hey, give me district chairs. What's a good memory like that? What's a good memory like that? Feel good memory that you always think about and then you smile. For me, it's like low key, and I hate saying this, but oh, she's gone. Okay, FTC 2018. So, Kat was on that committee with me, and so was Aaron Say, who's in chat. But that committee, we stay pretty true, and we still talk to this day. Like our last messages to each other were yesterday, and it's over 3 years now, and we still stay, close. And that's like literally my favorite memories when I first like got to know them and meet them in person at our first in person. Oh my God, Kyle, come on, let's talk about in persons. That's always a good memory. That's always the in person memories, guys. In person meetings when you first meet them, it's special for every district committee. Like I think LNR did like a Disneyland trip one time, right? I heard like LNR did that. I think like CNM sometimes has like they get like an Airbnb and they just bond together. Decon and like FTC, we've done that in the past. But anyone else have any good memories about Decon? Oh my god, Decon! Kyle! Tommy's 2020 Decon advertisement of the balloon at the convention center. Yes. So just as a like context, there was this there's a video of Tommy Thatch, who was on the Decon committee, who was stepping on a balloon to try to pop it, but instead of the balloon popping, it rolled. Like he stepped on it and it rolled, and he fell and slammed on his butt. Yes, that was I couldn't stop laughing. That was yes. Oh, MR. Oh my god. Yes, MR went to a music festival together. A whole committee, district committee, went to a music festival together. Yep, I've heard of that. There's a lot of opportunities. My committee currently, the FCC 2020 chair committee, we're actually planning in the future. We're actually planning a Reno in person, a Reno get together, so we can get to know all of us together and just bond. Anyone else have any good memories? Give me some of those good vibe memories that you had on your committees. Hot pot with CNM. Oh, that's yeah. The dinners and the what? I did not hear about this. When? What?
I didn't even hear about this. What is this?
He's lying. There's no way you did not go to Hawaii.
CNM is planning a Hawaii trip actually for the future.
What?
But that's like in the far future.
We're going to Reno, Nevada. Y'all are going to Hawaii. Oh,
I
FCC
think
2019 went to Vegas. Yep.
for memories, I guess bonding over emotions was a good memory for CNM.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotions last term. You know.
Mm-hmm. Picnic dinner with tech committee in SF. Wow, that's actually really cute. That's really cute. Anyone else have any good memories? Honestly, this is like the best memories. This is only like for FTC and Decon, but the trip when you go towards FTC/Decon with your committee, it's super special because you guys are all like in the car, like super excited and like yeah. The night before the event is super like sentimental and exciting because like you're like you can't sleep that night. Like I didn't sleep. I could not sleep the night before FTC. Like you usually get there a day early and like we like are just complete nut jobs like doing freaking out. So yeah, you stay awake. Yeah, you literally don't sleep that night and then you literally have to stay up all day the next day. But it's like the energy you have is because like you're just so motivated and so happy.
Well, I have one more memory.
Yes.
For President's Retreat. Yeah, a really nice memory was just like us seeing all the presidents. It was like the first online event. It was a struggle. I think Aaron, you can relate. Just like planning. It was really nice to see everyone like during that day. Like I know it's not like driving up to the site, but connecting into the Zoom and seeing everyone and like still having a good time was really a good memory.
Agree. All right. Anyone else? I think we have about 5 minutes left. Any questions? Literally anything. Can be like questions about like I don't know. Like you could ask about how long the application took. I wrote mine in like 10 minutes. I was like, I'm just gonna. Favorite FTC year? You can't ask me that. Nope. Not gonna answer that. Nope. 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 I was on it for nope. I like every FTC year. Oh yeah, I liked my first one because I didn't have to plan for it. Yes, I was a new member. FTC 2017. into the wild. That's like choosing a favorite kid. Yep. Um, let's see. What's another question I could ask? Yes, Matt. The dance at FTC is always fun. The dance at Decon's fun. The dance at Decon's fun because you can go into like the dance room. I went to the one in LA, and there was like a dance hall room where like people got to dance and have fun, and then you go outside and there was like a photo booth. There was a bunch of games. Everyone's selling stuff. It was hot. Yes, the dance events at both events are amazing. Oh yeah. End of an era. Oh my gosh. Um, what are some of the fun events that we had? Also, like, I think if you guys are gonna apply, just as a heads up, if you guys are gonna apply for Decon and FTC, you guys are in for a world of like different experiences because I think people expect FTC and Decon to be exactly the same. Well, we're really different when it comes to actually when you actually go to the event and stuff. You will find out it was completely different, like the behind the scenes experience. Um, yeah. Does any of the new chairs want to like talk about what they're looking for? Does anyone want to do a little shout out, anything? Because we got 3 minutes. Decon makes you suffer in the heat while FTC makes you freeze. Excuse you what? Decon makes you realize I didn't fit in my suit anymore. That's the pandemic. Oh my god. When we had to do those. Yes. Okay, well, I guess with that being said, I guess we'll just like do the closers. So if you guys look in the chat, I put the applications for the uh upcoming district committees as well as the office hours. If you guys want to look at contact info, don't contact any of us. We are done. So here are the contact information for all of the district committees chairs. I'm just kidding. You guys can hit us up if you the previous chairs if you want to know some of the experience that we have been through. But I would highly recommend you talk to the current district chairs because they are the ones who are appointing you, not us. We have no say. So yes, I am retired. Go go to my successor. Yes. And yeah. Does anyone have any? Apparently, I think it says your Jeevan, Doug, and I are having office hours tonight. Emily, is it today?
Yeah, so tonight, I think at 9 p.m., LNR and Service are having office hours, and at 10 p.m., KFAM is. I'll be there for like a good amount of time when Doug and Jeevan are there too.
Yes. All right.